These are going to make a great quilt from the land down under.
Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for Bland Designs, and this is my weekly vlog number 111 for April the 15th. It seems like forever since I've done a vlog, and it has been. It's been over 3.5 weeks because I just got back from Australia and I brought a friend. This is my kangaroo. His name is Kangaroo. I don't think that's original. I think that comes from Winnie the Pooh. But this is my little guy right here. You know how much I like kangaroos, and we had a really great trip, and I'm still suffering from jet lag, and I'm not sure what's going on with my lighting here today. It looks a little funny. Just put that down a bit. That's maybe a little better. And don't mind my hair. I need a haircut, and I'm getting one in a couple of days time. I hate it when my hair is out of shape. I usually get my hair cut every 3 weeks, and it grows fairly fast, and well, I'm past my 3-week mark, so it's driving me nuts, and I just have to put up with it until Wednesday because that's when I get in my next hair appointment. So as I said, we're back from Australia. We had a really good time, and if you haven't already seen it, I did a video every day of our trip, and so those are posted on my YouTube channel. I've made a link to the playlist below for that as well if you're interested. And I do videos when I travel the same way as I make videos like my vlogs and our live. I don't edit, so you get what you get. But if you're interested in going to Australia someday, you might find some of those videos helpful. Okay, when I was in Australia, I did pick up fabric. I picked up a lot of fabric that definitely screams Australia. I'm just going to show you just a few pieces of it as a sample, and if you're really interested in seeing what I got, then go to the Idiot Quilters episode 38. I did a whole thing about my fabric on there, but I'll just give you a little peek at some of the things I bought. So of course I was focusing upon digital designs and indigenous designs by the native peoples, and their particular art is one that involves abstract shapes and lines, as you can see on this one. A lot of dots and circles, a lot of wavy lines, probably to represent water, because I think that's very important in their culture. Actually, water is important to all our cultures, isn't it? Without it, we die. Another example. And sometimes you'll find on some of the prints, I don't think any of the ones I'm going to show you here, have some of the native wildlife and animals done stylistically on them, and they're usually in these types of colors, which are kind of nice. And I did pick up a few that also did feature some of the wildlife in Australia. This one has the kookaburras. Of course, you got to have some of the koalas as well, and I do have things with kangaroos on them, you can bet with that. So as I said, that's just a few. I have a whole stack. I think I spent around $400 on fabric when I was over there. Aussie dollars, which is pretty much the same as Canadian dollars. We're almost at par with the Aussies. In fact, I think we got a little bit more for our buck when we were over there, but like a couple of cents on the dollar. But anyways, so if you're interested, as I said, the link's below to the next Idiot Quilter, which features the Australian fabrics. When I was there too, I came across some very interesting appliques. Now, I haven't done applique yet, but I've been wanting to give it a go, so I figured let's go with this, and I saw these. Of course, again, kangaroo. You know how I love a kangaroo. But also I got a lizard, and I got a kookaburra. And these kits all come with the material for making them, and according to the person I got them from, it was a nice little store over there. It was in Cairns, the store that I went to, and it was, there's 16 of these in the set, and they all came in a kit for making a quilt and the whole bit, but it was about over $300 for that, and it was heavy, and I had to watch my weight coming back home. I'd taken about half of the weight that is allowable on the airplane, so I had about 12 kilograms that I could fill up, or maybe a little less than that, maybe about 9 kilograms. So, you know, 18 pounds, roughly 15 pounds, something like that. And you wouldn't think fabric weighs a lot. It does. When you buy a lot of it, it weighs a lot too. So I held back. I got these 3 because I liked their design, and I thought, yeah, they're kind of indicative of Australia. So that's a project down the road. I did find a couple of patterns too. I haven't got them here to show you, but again, I feature those on the Idiot Quilter video if you're interested to see what I picked up in that line. Okay, so that was about it. And of course, you saw my little furry friend. And reason we picked them up is because, and we talked about this yesterday on Stephen and Walter Live, and the link below is for that as well if you didn't catch it. Walter got a fruit bat one, and I got the kangaroo. The reason we got the fruit bat one was because one of the things that's going to stand out about this trip for me is that when we were in Cairns, there's a lot of trees, of course, because it's a very tropical climate. And there were a lot of bats, big bats. They're called fruit bats or flying foxes, and they have a wingspan of up to 3 meters across. So I think they're the largest bats in the world. They're perfectly harmless. They just eat fruit and nectar. That's it. But they all hang up in the trees. And right across from our hotel room was this tree, and you could watch them in the daytime. They were all hanging upside down the tree sleeping. But in around just at the beginning of dusk, they'd all liven up and off they'd go, and there'd be hundreds of them. The sky was black with them flying by, and we have that on video. So if you're interested in seeing that, check out my videos from Cairns because I've got the bats on there. So when we saw the puppet, Walter decided he wanted to get that puppet for Stephen and Walter Live, and I had to have one too, so of course I grabbed a kangaroo puppet. I don't know what I'm going to do with them now. We used them yesterday on Stephen and Walter Live. I guess I'll set it up in a corner somewhere. Okay, so that's about all that we bought in Australia. We're not big souvenir hunters or anything like that. But while we were there, we met up with one of our regular subscribers to the YouTube channel. Her name is Sue Manning. And Sue was very nice. She called us up at the hotel. In fact, she got reception and left her number for us to call her back because we were out. And reception said, well, there was this lady she called. Her name was Sue Manning. Like, she was sort of hesitating, like, do you know this person? And she'd like you to give her a call. And then this lady, the receptionist, says, apparently you're some kind of YouTube celebrities. Well, I went with the moment and just said, yeah, I guess we are. I just said that. Okay, we're not celebrities. No, like pretty Mickey Mouse here on this channel as far as number of subscribers and number of views and things in comparison to, you know, the biggies out there that get 1 million views on every video they put up. But anyways, for a brief moment, I was living the life of a celebrity for a whole 5 seconds. So I gave Sue a call, and we made arrangements to get together, and she came, picked us up at the hotel. She lives right in Cairns, and she took us around to various things, and she took us to a couple of quilt stores as well. And it was a great day. We had lunch and everything, and really got to see Cairns from the point of view of someone who lives there. And that was really, really nice, and it was really nice of Sue. So Sue also brought along some pictures of her birds. She rescues birds and looks after them, and she has quite a collection of these babies of hers, as she refers to them. And she also has some pictures of some of the art that she has done. And she presented us with a couple of cards as well that were beautiful that she had made. So I took the opportunity to interview Sue when we were having cappuccinos in the Botanical Gardens. And that's what I've put up as our person of interest for this week. Now, I don't have a YouTube channel to review this week, and this is a little longer segment because it's not often, if ever, that I've had a chance to actually interview somebody that is a subscriber to the channel. I think the last time I was able to do that was also in Niagara Falls. Whoa, Niagara Falls, where'd that come from? in Australia with Nairi in Adelaide. So I have an interview here, and yeah, take a look at this. This week's Person of Interest is a segment that's going to be done a little different than I usually do these. Usually I get information from people that they send to me by email. It's a very rare opportunity when I get to actually meet the person that I am featuring as a person of interest. And that person is Sue Manning. And if you've been watching some of my Australia videos, you will have seen Sue in a few of those when we were in Cairns, and that's where she lives, is Cairns. And Sue graciously came, gave us a phone call to our hotel room, and we made arrangements to meet up with Sue, and she graciously took us around to some sites in Cairns that we may not have seen otherwise if we hadn't been with Sue. That also included a few stops at some quilting stores as well. Sue gave me a couple of cards when she came, ones that she has created, which are lovely. This is the first card she gave us, and you can see it's got a sea theme, coral, and some of the shells and things, reminiscent of the Great Barrier Reef, since Cairns is the gateway to the Great Barrier Reef. And that's a very beautiful card. She also gave me a very unique card because she knows I like steampunk, and it looks flat, but it all opens up into this little exploding box. And I'll try to keep it open here. And this is lovely. The little keys, the metal keys, and the gears and everything, and the whole steampunk theme, as you can see, all the way around. So these are really nice, and both these cards are going into my place of honor, where I keep other things that people have given me that are equally lovely. And Sue also wrote a little note, or included a little note along with these, saying, my craft making journey only began after my retirement began. Initially, I only did card making. Then I branched out into collage and mixed media. Currently, I'm in the process of packing up and preparing my house for sale and moving back to my hometown, which is called Mackay, to care for my elderly parents, both 87 years old. Sue also gave me a package of pictures, which I've scanned, that show some of the projects she's worked on. All are really, really nice. And a few pictures of her birds. And in the interview, I think we do talk a little bit about her birds, but she does rescue birds, and she has quite a few of them, and they are her children, as everybody's pets are. So what I've done for this segment is I'm going to start with a quick slideshow of some of the pictures of her work. Then I have the interview, which I did live in the Botanical Gardens in Cairns. And then I'll cut to some pictures of her birds. So I hope you enjoy this interview. Okay, so this is Sue Manning. She's one of our regulars on our Stephen and Walter Live and on my vlogs. And Sue graciously contacted us and said she was going to take us around today. And we went to some quilt shops, as you've seen earlier on this. And I am going to do a little bit more of an in-depth person of interest on my vlog when I get home, because Sue's given us a couple of really nice cards and I want to show off her creative talents. But now that we've got her here and we're in the Botanical Gardens and we're having coffee, I thought I would just get to know Sue a little bit better. So Sue, you're not a native to here, to Cairns. You're native to
Mackay.
And Mackay is how far from here?
About 900 miles south of here. It's approximately, on a map, it's halfway between Cairns and Brisbane. So
okay,
yeah.
So it's a ways, but you've been up in this area, you said, for what, 30 years?
Yeah, that's right. I'm
And-
working, yes.
And you worked as
I worked at the Cairns Base Hospital as a medical laboratory scientist in the pathology department.
ooh, geez, that must have been interesting work.
Oh yes, chained to a microscope for 20 years, the last 20 years there. And I've worked at other hospitals around the state. I worked about 5 years at Mount Isa Base Hospital, and I've worked in Townsville. And a couple of private labs. I worked, when I first came to Cairns, I worked at a private lab for 3 years, and then I got the job at the base hospital, and I was there for 20 years.
Oh, geez, okay. So now you're retired. You've said you've been retired for 3 years and you've just gotten, well, not really just got into the crafting world, have you? Like,
Yeah,
or was it?
pretty much. I didn't do anything except make an occasional card, or birthday card or Christmas card, for my parents before I retired. That was the extent of it. So really, no, I didn't start doing anything, intensely until after I retired.
So was that just because work took up so much of your time? And
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
usually the story for most people,
Yeah.
too, with that. Whereas I was a little bit luckier. I taught as a teacher. I could do some creative things, but really it was after I retired that I really got more into it, too. So what kind of things in crafting now do you like? What's yanking your creative cord?
Well, I started off with the card making, then I progressed on. My passion at the moment is paper collage in journals, and I've also dabbled in mixed media. That's how I first found you, Stephen, when I googled mixed media and found your site and several others that I watch, and like Mike Deacon. We're both fans of his, and yes, I haven't done many mixed media projects, but I really love it. And I've also just recently discovered making books, like tea dyeing your own paper,
Right.
and doing the binding yourself, and that's future.
I don't want to miss this stuff. Okay, so we just stopped for a minute because we've just got our cappuccinos and our coffees, and Sue was saying about the sugar.
This is a local Queensland product. Bundaberg is a town in Queensland, and it's a main sugar producing area. And also, you get, as a byproduct of the sugar refinery, you get Bundaberg rum.
Oh, okay. Oh, wasn't there a place we went to? They made the rum and raisin ice cream out of that?
Probably.
Something? Yeah, that's what they said when we were up at that place yesterday.
Love rum and raisin.
So the weather, as you can see, it is raining here, and I think it's rained every day that we've been here. Would this be considered like the rainy season, or is this atypical?
You are here at the very end of the rainy season, so yes, it is still. Yeah, not until the end of April are you safely. May through to September are what's considered the dry months. But even then, I mean, it might go May, June, not much rain. But in July we have our, I don't know if you have them, agricultural show,
Yeah.
where they have the parade, the horses and the cattle, and they do the judging of the chooks and dogs and cats, and have all the Ferris wheels and the sideshows and everything like that. That is in July, generally mid-July, and you can guarantee it will rain then.
Oh, okay.
Because it's on for 3 days, and generally on People's Day it'll rain. Yeah. I mean, I have been there when it's been blue skies and sunny, but most often the odds are that it will rain then. But yeah, this is the tail end of the monsoon season. You're actually quite lucky that you didn't walk into a cyclone. So you could have spent your 6 days here in Cairns in your bedroom.
Yeah, we watched that on TV before we came, the one that blew through,
Townsville?
Yeah.
Just recently, I forget that. And just before you arrived, a couple of weeks before you arrived, Cyclone Trevor.
Yeah.
And that's quite funny because one of my craft ladies, her husband's name's Trevor, so we got lots of mileage out of jokes about Trevor.
The guy that checked us into the hotel in Gold Coast was named Trevor.
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, and you made a joke about that, and I didn't get it. Now I get it. Okay.
Yeah. So the cyclone season is not officially over. until the end of April, and I used to have a workmate that said, "Oh, we've never ever had." She's a local. We've never ever had a cyclone in April, and that was almost as she said the words, Cyclone Yazzie, which is the big super cyclone of, I forget whether it was 2012. I forget. You'll have to Google when Cyclone Yazzie, Yasi, came through, and that was mid-April and devastated Innisfail, and it was quite scary to live through. So even in April here now, yeah, there's potential for a cyclone.
So if we were to come back here again, what month would you recommend?
September seems to be really good. If you've got blue skies, no rain that I can recall, unless it's a spring shower. But no, mostly August is cold. Our winter here, winter is one night. It'll drop below 10 degrees. That's our winter night. So it's rarely below 10 degrees even in the coldest winter. And September's generally great, but May, June are good too. Yeah.
Well, okay. So let's get back to you. I'll let you can drink your coffee while I'm doing this. Yeah, it's
I hope you're not showing all of this.
probably. You know my rules about editing. I don't. I'm just hoping the sound's picking up okay. But I was going to say, so besides crafting, and do you have any other hobbies or interests that you pursue?
Something that I've pursued for the last 30 years, not intentionally, not at all, is I rescued one little bird, one little rainbow lorikeet, which was like those little birds that landed on Stephen and Walter's balcony in Noosa. And I rescued that one and had him for 30 years. And then I rescued another one, then I rescued another one, and then with my workmates, they knew I was a bird person, and they had pets that they didn't want anymore. Their children had grown up, they were leaving home, they didn't want, the birds were too noisy, too messy, needed too much attention. Would I take them? I can't say no. So I ended up with 20 birds.
Oh, wow.
I got 6 in one batch. One lady gave me 6 birds in one go. I had a manageable 4, then I had 10. So overnight. So I ended up with 20. I've now, with attrition, with them being geriatric and aging and whatever, I'm down to 10. I would have been down to even less than that, but I got 2 large parrots that lived to 80 years from my father, who he's still alive, but he couldn't manage them anymore. And they were a male and female, and they were young. And so I had those 2, and by accident, totally by accident, unknown to me, they had babies.
Oh.
So my numbers multiplied again. But now they're not allowed to have babies. I take the eggs away. I don't want a population explosion. So that's my full-time hobby, is looking after the parrots. Yeah. Crafting is my part-time hobby. Parrot care is my full-time hobby.
So do you have a special area they stay in, or?
Yes, I have what I called it my bird room. It used to be my rumpus room / laundry. It's now the devastation that is called the bird room. I have lots of stands with native branches in them, which they destroy, and there's lots of bark and leaves and but doing that, I mean, they've already destroyed my Venetian blinds and started on the woodwork around the doors, so I give them branches just to save the house.
So will they move with you? You said you're going to move in a while.
Yeah, they're my babies, and what I plan to do, I'm moving from Cairns back to Mackay to look after my elderly parents, and I'm hoping to get a small lot, a small acreage, or perhaps, and build a large outdoor aviary for them. So they'll love that.
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else that we should know about Sue?
No, that pretty much
Well, you did tell
covers
us
it.
that you're trying to be a vegetarian.
Oh, I am vegetarian. I did try to be vegan, but I would have to eliminate eggs and cheese. But unfortunately, that leaves being a vegan is hard. And as you can see with my cappuccino here, I do like dairy products. So yes, I'm a vegetarian. I don't eat any meat, but yes, I haven't eliminated the dairy, cheese, or eggs. So I don't think I'll be able to do that.
No, I I couldn't do that. There's no way.
It's hard.
Yeah. You know, I think I could probably be a vegetarian, but I couldn't go to the full route to vegan. Right. But I just don't think about the animals. I try not to.
Yes, well, I'm one. I've been called a what is it online? I've been called a keyboard warrior. When I voiced my opinion when I shouldn't have, but this was actually on the the topic was on people clipping their birds' wings. I'm very anti. I'm very anti that. But a lot of people do it, but it's mainly for the owner's convenience. It's not for the bird's welfare.
It's like declawing a cat.
Exactly.
You know, like we were going to have our cat declawed when we first got her. Then I found out what they actually do, and it's like having your finger removed at the first knuckle. And I said, no, not going to happen.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. My first priority is the animal's welfare, and and there's no. I mean, if you're going to have birds, seeing them fly is actually one of the great joys. And when you have a dog or a cat, you call, it comes to you. You've got to get a bird to trust you before it'll fly to you. And once it trusts you, then having them fly voluntarily to be with you is great.
Yeah, it's like that. Well, this has been great. And any parting comments, like coming to Canada soon?
I'd love to. Yes, but I've got to get. It'll be a couple of years, yes, because I've got to renovate my house. I've got to sell my house. I've got to move to Mackay. I've got to buy a house. I've got to build an aviary. So you can see this is a couple of years.
Yeah, a couple of. Well, if you come to Canada, let us know. We'll show you a good time, and bring your woolies.
So that interview was a little longer than what I usually do with persons of interest, but we haven't had a person of interest for quite some time because nobody has sent me anything. Come on, don't be shy. I don't bite unless you want me to. All right? Send me something. It doesn't have to be a book, okay? Just send me something about yourself, about the things you're doing, your interests, your hobbies, whatever you want to tell me. And if you can send me a couple of pictures along as well of some of your recent artwork or some shots of where you live, like your town or something like that, whatever grabs your fancy, then I would be more than happy to present this as a person of interest. It would make my day if you did that. Okay, so all the links for everything from today's vlog are listed below as usual. So that takes us to what's pissing me off this week. Well, this is always pisses me off, and I think it pisses a lot of people off, and it's the service that you get on the airlines these days. You don't. Everything about traveling when you have to fly is stressful. And I'm not talking about it from the point of view of somebody who's afraid to fly. You know, I'm not afraid to fly. But what I hate about the whole experience is everything from beginning to end. First of all, getting into the airport, no matter how many times I have been to the Toronto airport, it always seems to be different in the way that you have to get your ticket, your boarding pass, get your suitcases loaded onto the plane, everything like that. Now they have these kiosks, which are supposed to make life so much easier. Yeah, it never seems to work for me. This time, we put my passport into the kiosks, and actually almost every time it rejects me for some reason. I don't know. Now, there was somebody who came over and helped me out with this, and that was kind of nice because sometimes there's somebody there, sometimes there's not somebody there. and he got it all straightened out. So that was okay. But it just gives you that, you know, do you need the extra stress? And then, of course, when it printed out our boarding passes, it did not print out our boarding passes for the second flight. We had to take 2 flights to get to Australia. One flight from Toronto to Vancouver, and then we needed to transfer planes, had about a 2-hour wait over, and transfer to another Air Canada plane that went to Brisbane. So you've got 2 boarding passes. Well, the stupid kiosk machine only printed out the one from Toronto to Vancouver. So we're wondering, well, what do we do? So we went up to the counter, and lo and behold, they had to reprint them, and they printed out both our stuff that we needed. So that was over with and done. So that was fine. Oh wait, no, sorry, I got that mixed up. Walter tried to do it online. That was it. That's supposed to make things easier for you too, do it online. And online, it only gave us the boarding pass from Toronto to Vancouver. When we got to the airport, we still had to plug in the stuff into their kiosk, and that printed out everything that was supposed to be there. So I really don't understand why you can check in online and you still have to do it when you get to the airport through these kiosk machines. I don't understand that. So that's just another frustrating point. Then, of course, you get the baggage situation. Well, yeah, they charge you for every bag now. So what do people do? They pack everything into what they call a carry-on. And the carry-ons are not carry-ons. They are small suitcases. And they actually have a special little rack, the airlines do, where you're supposed to stuff your bag, your carry-on bag, into that. And if it doesn't fit, it's too big, you got to check it. Nobody uses it, and nobody on the airlines checks either. So you've got these people that are carrying one of these small suitcases, plus you're allowed to take a personal bag on as well. Well, okay, there's a lot of people on there taking backpacks as a personal bag, or these huge tote bags. The ladies are trying to get away with calling them a purse. They're not a purse. They're a bloody tote bag full of stuff. So where are they going to store them? None of them fit underneath the seats ahead of them. They all have to go in the overhead bins. So people get on the plane and they're scrambling to find a place to put their bags. They're trying, of course, logically put them close to where they're sitting. But that doesn't happen. And so they're all up and down the aisles trying to cram stuff into the overheads. The stewardess are grabbing things and pulling them out. Sorry, flight attendants, old term, stewardess, that's sexist. Flight attendants are pulling stuff out and moving it here and there, and at some points they're taking some of the bags out and they're having them taken and put in where the regular suitcases are, and they give somebody a check tag for it. In fact, sometimes you'll get an announcement saying, you know, if anybody'd like to volunteer to check their carry-on, you can do that for nothing, which I think is kind of unfair at that. I'm paying to have my bags checked. I'm taking a single carry-on that is tiny little thing that fits right under the seat in front of me because I'm following the rules of the airplane, and the airlines don't bother to reinforce this with people at all. So of course people are going to get away with it. And every flight I've taken in the last little while, it gets worse and worse with the amount people are taking. I mean, a family of 4 is going on there. Each one of them has one of these suitcases, mini suitcases, and each one of them has a backpack and a purse on top, or tote bag, sorry, on top of that. Well, those overhead bins do not hold much, and then you can't get anything under the seat because everything's too big. So really, you know, I know that the airlines are gouging us by charging for our baggage, and people are trying to avoid that by doing the carry-on. I say, okay, why don't you just include in the price of the ticket the price of a checked bag? Why do you put that as separate? Okay, if it was included in the price of the ticket, there'd be a lot of people go, well, the hell with it, I'm already paying for it, I might as well check the bag. I think the other reason people don't want to check their bags is because of how long it takes to pick it up at the carousel. Well, yeah, it takes a little bit of time, but 9 times out of 10, unless you're on a really tight schedule, and that's your fault for planning things that tight, really wait for the damn thing. It would just make life so much easier. Of course, once you get on the airplane and find your seat, yeah, that's a whole stressful thing on top of it all. The seats are getting more narrow. the aisles are narrow, they're trying to pack in more seats. In some airlines, the seats are so close together, there's actually no leg room. And it's times like that when I'm glad I'm short, because I don't know what you would do if you're over 6 feet tall in some of those situations. And then, of course, there's the service during the flight. Yes, now, there's a new code of conduct for passengers. You know, if you open your mouth and say anything that might be a somewhat critical, or if you look at a flight attendant the wrong way, they're going to turn the plane around and take you back to the airport, because they're not putting up with that kind of crap at all. Well, I agree. They shouldn't have to put up with crap from people. However, you give crap, you get crap, and they give crap. They've got an attitude now, these flight attendants, that you can't touch me, and you're lucky I'm even serving you. And they push that little cart down there. Do you want a drink? Maybe. They don't come around too often with that kind of thing. And the food sucks. Now, that is not the flight attendant's fault about the food. They don't prepare the food. I get that. But the food is just gross. And I don't know, is there a competition going on between all these food providers for airlines to see who can make the most people throw up on a single flight? Even the smell of it turns me off anymore. I ate very little on the flight to or back from Australia. And what I did had, I don't know what it was. I have no idea. And the other thing was, we were sitting closer to the back of the plane, so by the time they got to us, and they usually have two choices, there was no choice left. They'd run out of whatever was probably the popular one, and you got whatever slop was left over. And that's what it is. It's slop. It just makes me feel ill. I don't like flying. I don't like flying because the service sucks. The airplanes suck. And the expense is high. But what are you going to do? The airline companies know they've got you over a barrel. You know, you want to go to Australia? What are you going to do? Swim? Take a boat? Yeah, I'll get there sometime next year that way. So really, we are trapped as consumers, as travelers, as tourists. If you're going anywhere outside of your own country, pretty much, unless you live in Europe and, you know, the space there is, it's very compact. So, you know, and they have a good like train system and thing like that. But if you're going from North America to Europe or anywhere else in the world, you basically have to fly. The airlines know this, and they've got you. They can charge whatever they want to. They can treat you in whatever manner they want. And ever since after 9/11, well, you know, the airlines have the right to do whatever they want to do to you, because my God, you might be a terrorist. And don't even get me started on going through security at the airports. I mean, I'm not sure what I have to take off anymore. Do I have to take off my belt? Don't have to take off my belt. Do I have to take off my shoes? Do I not have to take off my shoes? Do I have to take my iPad out of my bag and turn it on, or don't I? It's always different, and there's never a sign that says exactly what you're supposed to do. And usually those signs anyways, I read them, and they don't say anything half the time about half the stuff you're not supposed to have on you or that you're supposed to take off or whatever. So, and then you get the full body scan thing. And then this time too, on the way through, they took me aside and used a wand, a special wand, to see if I'd been in contact with anything explosive. Okay, I understand about the security. It's just a way of our life, and I guess better safe than sound. But they treat you automatically like you're a criminal when you go through, and you feel about this high. Like you feel like you did do something, and you're thinking in your mind, what have I done? What have I done? So anyways, overall what I'm pissed off with is the whole idea of flying. It is not a luxurious kind of way of being transported. You're treated like dirt, and you're paying for this treatment. I think that's the thing that kills me the most. I'm paying to be abused. So that's what I'm pissed off at this week. Okay, moving on. Let's talk about some new products. Well, these came in just after I left for Australia to my craft store, and they are paints. And it's chalk paint, and I bought the complete set of these. These are by the company that makes those, what do you call them? The kits for making albums that I did a whole feature on back there a few weeks ago. iCraft. They're from India, and my local scrapbooking store has got an exclusive deal with this company. Now, this company does have a website, but it doesn't work. So I'm sorry, but no sense me giving you what that is because it really doesn't exist. But these paints, we tried them out in my last art journaling class. Carol, the owner of Class Act, the store that has the exclusive rights to these, she let me try a few of them, and actually they're kind of nice. They are water resistant once they dry. They go on fairly smoothly, and I made a little swatch chart. These are all 18 colors. The colors are a little unusual in their shades, but you can work with them. And the best part about this product is they're very cheap. Inexpensive is what I mean. Her price, $3.59. That's pretty good. And although these look like a fairly small container, they go a long way. So I'm looking forward to using these on some projects and trying them out in a little bit more detail than I have. But my initial response to them right now is I really like them. The only thing I don't like is the packaging is very cheap on these. It's you can feel it. It bends very easily. The labels on these are not like it's like someone put them on by hand. I mean, that's a minor thing as long as the product's good. The only thing I'm worried about is since the container is cheap, I'm wondering if the paint inside, even though I've got the lid on, is going to dry up at some point. They came with a protective aluminum foil seal when you took the cap off over the jar top, but that's destroyed when you're trying to get it off. It doesn't come off in one piece. It's very, very flimsy. So it's not like something you can peel off and put back on again to add an extra layer of protection. So we'll see how these work out. So those are chalk paints by iCraft. You might be able to do a search on the internet and see what you can find on them, but as I said, their website doesn't work. So, and as far as I know, the only place you can get them in North America is from Class Act in my town, Oshawa. And you can go to their website. I think Carol will ship almost anywhere in the world. So if you're interested in these, you can go to Class Act, CLASSACT.ca, and that's the store's website, and you can go from there. Okay, another thing that I got, you're gonna laugh. This. What is this? Well, you put it on your finger. You turn on the switch, and it is a, don't want to blind you, it's a finger light. I have 4 of them in total. Now, I think originally they're designed to be used at a rave. You know, you put them on your fingers and you dance around. But somebody mentioned that they had used these when they're doing quilting. And so you could see up close. And I was thinking, that's an idea. So I ordered these off of Amazon. They came in a package of 4. And here they are again. Kind of hard to show them. I'm falling out, but red, blue. They came with the batteries. They take 3 of those little round batteries. But they came with the batteries. And we'll see. I have a feeling I probably won't use them very often, if at all. But they were very inexpensive. With now I have Prime, so I don't have to pay for shipping, but I think with tax in Canadian dollars, they came to about 14 bucks. So I thought I'd give it a try. Now I had seen them like on different sites in the States. Fat Quarter Shop, it's a online quilting store. They had them for $1.78 each for one. But I looked into the shipping of it to Canada. Well, it was going to cost me about $8 American to ship 2 of those to me. So with the exchange rate and the whole bit, I thought, no. Especially when it was a product I didn't know whether it was going to work or whatnot. So I found them on Amazon.ca, ordered them from there, and well, as I said, we'll see how these work out. Okay, and that's about all I've got new this week. So what are we going to move on to next? Well, book of the week. So I was watching, excuse me, I have to have a drink. When I was on the flight to Australia, I watched the movie The Favourite. I guess someone won the supporting actress Oscar for that. So I watched it on the plane. It's a bizarre little movie, but oh wait, no, that's not where I got this idea. I did see that movie. It's a bizarre little movie. Another one I watched was Mary Queen of Scots. And in that movie, the person playing Queen Elizabeth, she was doing something called quilling. Now, I've done quilling before, and it's basically where you take long strips of paper and you coil them around a little spindle and you make them into shapes, and you can make flowers and all kinds of things. It's a very ancient form of paper crafting. And I have done it, and I haven't done it in quite a few years, but I've got all the stuff you need to do it. And so I happened to come across a book that I'd forgotten that I have, and I must have bought this when I first got into paper quilling back quite a few years ago now. So I thought I would talk about this. Quilling is something I think that might be on the rise again. It was all the rage back when I first got into it about 10, 15 years ago. Then it kind of died out, and these things do. And I have noticed that at some craft stores, they're selling quilling supplies again. So there must be a resurgence of interest in quilling. And you can make some really beautiful things. And this book really talks about that and what you can do and the different projects you can make with this. And it gives you some templates and things that you can follow to help you make some really beautiful paper items. So if you've ever been interested in quilling, or if you're new to it, or if you want to find out more about it, I highly recommend this book. And it's called The Book of Paper Quilling, Techniques and Projects for Paper Filigree. I guess that's the other name for paper quilling, filigree. Now, this book, I have no idea what I paid for it originally. Well, it says on the back it was $22.95 Canadian when I bought it, whenever I bought it. But I did a search for it, and I found it on Amazon. Now, I found it on Amazon.com this time, as opposed to Amazon.ca. Amazon.ca didn't seem to have it. I'm just checking. Yeah, it was Amazon.com. I've got the link below for that. Price-wise, $3.87 US. Have no idea what it's going to cost you for shipping. Could be a lot more than that, but $3.87 isn't a bad price, even with an exchange rate on it. So if you're interested, the link's below, and you can go to find this book. And it's by a lady called Malinda Johnston. Okay, so that's the book of the week. Works in progress. Okay, I haven't got anything this week, of course, because I've been away. But I am going to start later this week working on my next little project that I'm going to show you. It comes from that iCraft series, and it is what they call a photo folio. Now mine is blanking out. Did I write it down? Yeah, photo folio scrapbook. It's just a little thing, but I'm going to start filming the segments of it, and I'm going to do the same thing as I did with the album that I created, show you how, from beginning to end, how to put something like this together. And I hope you'll enjoy that new series. Actually, it's not a new series, it's my continuation of Works in Progress series. So that'll be next week. I'll have the first segment of that. Okay, so events in the past week. Well, got back from Australia safe and sound, and suffering from jet lag. As I make this video, Walter's upstairs dead asleep. Our sleep pattern has been so erratic. I could have still been in bed this morning too, but I forced myself to get up at my usual time, because what's been happening is I've been going to bed really late, trying to be tired. So I go to bed, I'm tired, but I wake up 2 hours later and I'm wide awake. And I lay there from about 2 o'clock in the morning until about 5 o'clock in the morning, and then suddenly, and I like to be up about 7 o'clock or so, or even a little earlier than that. So when it comes to the time when I usually get up, that's when I fall asleep, and I'm not up again until noon. And to me, that's wasting a day. Also, I don't like the way it makes me feel. I feel very disoriented. I think that's all the effects of jet lag. And if I remember correctly, the last time we came home from Australia, we went through this as well. And it took about 2 weeks to get our systems back in line. So I'm forcing myself today Walter didn't go to bed until about 5 o'clock this morning. So that's why he's sleeping now. I forced myself to get up this morning at 7 o'clock so I can get my day going. Now, no guarantee that come around 2 o'clock this afternoon I may be laid out on a couch somewhere. Well, that's one of the prices you pay for those kinds of flights. So anyways, I did call my mom when I got home. I'm going over to see her tomorrow, and she's fine. She weathered the time well while I was gone, I guess. My sister was around anyways, and she was looked after fine. I guess there's a special luncheon coming up this week that she's opted into, which I'm glad she has. And she sounds like she's looking forward to that. So that's great. So we're going over there tomorrow, and Easter's coming up this weekend. So I'm taking over to my mother a little Easter basket of goodies that I got at a chocolate store, kind of a thing. That'll brighten up her day a little bit. My mother loves her candy. So yeah, she'll probably scoff it all down, throw up. Not pleasant. But anyways, she sounds like she's okay and settling in. I know that when I see her tomorrow, there'll be something she'll complain about. Probably Doris, her roommate, who has dementia and is 98 years old, whatever. When I called her the other day, Doris was talking away, which she does, to herself. She can't help it. I mean, she's 98 and she's got dementia. She's a nice old lady, though. I mean, she's a real little sweetheart. But she has dementia. So there you go. What can you do? Okay. So what else is coming up? Okay, so Easter I mentioned, and so we're going over to my sister's for Easter dinner on Sunday with that, which means that Stephen and Walter Live, which usually we start at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, because we need to be over at my sister's for about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, we're moving up our time for Stephen and Walter Live just for next Sunday, and it'll be at 3 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Not at 4, but at 3. So just in case you're one of the people that watch us on a regular basis, we'll be on an hour earlier because of Easter. Okay, so I think that's about it for now. Yeah, can't think of anything else to tell you or anything like that. So I hope you have a great week. Do check out my Australian videos as well. See what I saw. And the Idiot Quilter's latest episode if you're interested in the fabric I bought in Australia. So I hope you have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.